everyone. Today we are going to start a new series where the goal of this series is to learn Objective-C and then further use that knowledge of Objective-C to create iOS applications for iPhone as well as iPad and Mac OS. But we will start it from the basic application and basic knowledge for required to learn Objective-C. So the goal behind today's lesson is to just to get started with what is Objective-C and how do we use it, and what are the tools and what are all the things that are required in order for us to start coding in Objective-C. So the first thing we need to know about Objective-C is what it is. It's the language that iOS uses to build application. By iOS I mean Mac or Apple laptops. For I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Macs are, but yeah, so it's the iOS is the language for Objective-C is the language for iOS. That's what the developers they use, and they build frameworks and stuff on top of that, which we will be learning later on this course. But for now, we need to know how to start coding in Objective-C. What are all the things that we need to take care of? Objective-C is fairly simple to learn if you know the basics of object-oriented programming and you know the basics of C language. So if anybody finds this series a little difficult to understand, or they don't grasp what I'm trying to say in this series, they can go and look into the C language. If you know C or C++, I think you're in a wonderful spot to learn Objective-C. So without any delay, let's start with the basics of what we need for Objective-C and whatnot. So the first thing you need to in order to run Objective-C is like a compiler or a program that helps you run Objective-C. So what you can do is you can use uh, you know X, Xcode. You can use Xcode to run that, and Xcode is provided in Apple's App Market. So if you go on App Store and if you search for Xcode, you'll be able to find that it's in there, and you can download it, and later on you can code on it. And there's a lot of tutorials and stuff for Xcode as well. But this is what we need. It's free. It doesn't. If you have an Apple account, they don't charge you anything, but it takes a lot of memory. So I think it's a few gigabytes. So if you need to make sure you have to do some kind of memory management if you don't have that much memory in your device. So that's the issue there. But other than that, it's free of cost. It doesn't take much uh, except time to download. So you have to be on a good internet speed, and you can download it in like less than 20 minutes, I think so. But it's few GBs as far as I'm concerned about the memory. So how will we start? So the first thing we're going to do is we'll go in your applications and we'll start Xcode. So the Xcode, it's not specifically for Objective-C. Yes, it does take care of Objective-C in a very good manner, but it does a lot more than that. It gives you views and it gives you models and controllers for basic application building for iPhones and iPads. So it does a lot of more work than just Objective-C, but for us, we're gonna use it for Objective-C only. That's the purpose for us right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new project. So when you go to Xcode, you're gonna create a new project. Now it will give you a lot of options. So iOS, if you wanted to create like some kind of application, something you can create all these applications in there. There's a lot of frameworks out there, Kokai is there, which we will learn later on this series. And then there it says application. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do simple Objective-C, very basic coding for now at least. So we're going to go on command line. That's where we're going to do our coding. And I'm going to say next. Now in the next, I have to give it a name. So let's just say I call it my basics. And then this is your organization name and all that. You can change it, and you can give it name whatever you want to give it. And then it asks you for all the languages: C, C++, Objective-C, and Swift. Swift is the newer language that they use, but we are going to learn Objective-C now, so that's what we're going to call it. And then you go on next, and then you can save it anywhere where you can. What we can do is you can go on your documents if you want to create something. What you can do is you can go on documents and you can create a new folder. You can name it developer, and in that developer folder you can create your project, and it's going to load all the basic things that are there that are required in order for you to accomplish the very basic Objective-C build. Now here you see there's a lot of stuff here. This is your project name. It says my basics, and there is main.m file. I will get to it in 1 minute, and there is products, right? So main.m, your .m extension is the extension for Objective-C file. Now here is what we're going to start talking more about Objective-C and less about other things in perspective. What is Objective-C? What do we do with it? How are we going to use it? This is the syntax for it right here. It looks kind of complicated, but it's fairly easy to understand. This is a foundation library with the foundation of all the functions or all the objects that we really require right away. You can later on add and import several other files you're gonna learn later on. It's very similar to C, and you can still use all the data types from C. For example, you can use integers, you can use long, you can use double, you can use short, you can use char for characters. You can use all those, but it also has its own inbuilt classes as well. Here you see it says nslog at hello world. I'll tell you in a minute what that is. NSLog. So any kind of object in Objective-C that they create starts from NS. Any kind of inbuilt object that we're going to use NSLog or other, as we proceed, I'm going to show you how to do that. It starts from NS. NS. And NSLog is very simple to it's very similar for you to some for like cout is there in C++ or in JavaScript, how we have alert or document.write. It's very similar to that, or console.log for who knows, people who know JavaScript. It's very similar to that. What it does is it shows the string that you put inside in the console, which I'll show you in a minute. So when I click on this play button, it's going to start building, and it says build successful, and here it tells you the date and the time and the project name, and says hello world. That's what my project is I'm ns logging in my project. So that's what it's going to show, and it's going to say program ended with exit code 0, which you can see here. I'm saying return 0. Now there's one other thing that is required to be noticed here, which is called at auto release pool. Now what is that? So auto release pool is something that they did for memory management. This is in auto release pool, memory management happens automatically. You don't have to manage your own memory. You don't have to create, you don't have to delete variables or things. Yes, you can do your own memory management. It's not a bad thing. It's in some cases it's actually a good thing to know how to do memory management, and we'll learn that later. But for beginning, if we do auto release pool, it's okay. What happens is anything that a part of this namespace of auto release pool will generate and will get compiled. And once the compilation ends, that means once I'm outside of auto release pool, it's going to release all the memory. That means my build or my compiler is free of those memories. All those things that were in there now are deleted. They no longer exist in the memory. So my browser is free, got rid of those memories. So that's what we call memory management. So that is what this auto release pool is. Now let's go one step further and create a new string. So how do we create a string? In Objective-C, we say ns string, and we have to give the string name. Before we give name to the class, before we give name to our string, we have to write this. Oops. And we say, let's just say this is for first name. So I'll say f name. Why did I put this in front of the string? I'm sorry, it's like this. And I have to say, let's just say I say at, and I say Bruce. Now you will be wondering, why did I put this sign in front of my string, right? What is it doing? What's the purpose of this? Why can't I just say ns string, the name of the string, whatever I want to give it the name? This is what we call pointer. Like pointer, what is he talking about? What's the pointer? It's exactly what it says. Pointer, it points to the reference. It points to the memory allocation of that string. So somewhere in the memory of my compiler, I created an address called fname, and I stored information called Bruce inside it. So this asterisk sign is this sign is nothing but a reference in the memory of a compiler. ns string equals to Bruce. Now if I wanted to display this, if I want to log this out, there is a way to do that. I can say ns log right, at the rate, and my string, I can say my name is. Now you're gonna wonder what is this? The percentage at the rate sign. What is it? What are you doing with that? That is what we call an identifier, or in simpler terms, in more of like a modern, easy terms, we call it placeholder. It is holding a place for my string. I can replace it with anything. There are a number of different identifiers or placeholders. This is the most common one. Reason being, it takes any kind of object, ns string, ns number. It takes any kind of object. It doesn't show you any error on that. But as I'm saying, my name is that. Now I have to give it a value too, right? So I'll say comma, and I'll just name my string f name. That's it. So it should say my name is Bruce. It should take the value of f name from the statement, one statement above, and it should display that. Let's see if that's the outcome we are getting. So when I build this, here it says the time and my basic, and it says my name is Bruce. You can see it's getting the desired value. Let's just say I have another string that says L name for a last name, right? And the last name is Wayne. Okay, now I want to add Wayne to here as well, so I can just say my first name is Bruce, and my last name is, this all is part of one string, is I have to put another identifier here, and here I'll say F name, and I have to say L name. You see that's error, that means I missed something. I hover on that, I click on that, it says issue use of undeclared identifier L name. So either I made a spelling mistake or something. I did made a spelling mistake. I'll change it to L name. Here also I am the error is still there. That means here I'm making a mistake. I'm calling it lane. Change this to L name. Let's see, the error goes away. Now when we run this, it shows me my first name is Bruce and my last name is Wayne. So it's taking my identifiers. Same thing we can do with the number, which we're gonna learn in the next tutorial video. But this is the very basic. I am going very slow because it's more of like a beginner level tutorial. As we'll advance, I will have more advanced tutorials for you guys as well. So if you have any questions, any comments, any kind of feedback, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. We appreciate your feedback always, and thank you so much for your time, and I will be back with the next video very soon. Thank you so much.